Hi, my name's Jim. I'm co-founder of Threepipe Reply. We call ourselves a brand performance agency. We are made up of about 80 people running services from paid search to social to digital PR to creative. So yeah, the pandemic had quite a big impact on Threepipe, obviously from a staffing, personnel aspect, and obviously we were all distributed to our own homes. We're quite international as a group of people, so a lot of people were able to get home to their families across Europe and still remain in Europe, and we're trying to figure out at what point we all come back together. But yeah, it's been an extraordinary 12 months in terms of getting to work virtually together and with clients, of course, as well. Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of clients in different sectors that were adversely impacted. In fact, a lot of our client base now looks quite different from when it did 12 months ago. We do an awful lot of work in sports and travel, and of course those two sectors were pretty badly hit. But then we had sectors that had a pretty good pandemic, in terms of food and drink, beauty, and just general wellness products. Pet food, for instance, was a very strong category for us as well. So it kind of evened itself out, really. But yeah, our client base looks quite different today than it did 12 months ago.
You mentioned, obviously, that people started working from home. You had the opportunity, let's look at it that way, to work from home. You're a gent with a young family. What was week one, and how quickly did you decide to look at an alternative?
Yeah, so my wife works in PR as well, and she was pretty busy and full on with her job. A lot of firefighting and a lot of long conference calls and video calls, and we just tried to find ways to work around each other, as well as having two young children in the flat under 5 years old at the time. And so, I just had this sort of brainwave that we needed to find an extra room somewhere. And of course, we wouldn't be able to build one ourselves or buy a new place. So decided to hunt down a camper van on Auto Trader. And for some reason, the wife agreed it was a good idea as well. And we bought a Talbot motorhome express, and I joined the Talbot fan club about 12 months ago. It's been quite fun actually, and the children got involved actually drawing pictures and putting it in the windows, and we had relatives making curtains that we put in there as well, and the bizarre thing is obviously it never moved in the 12 months that we've had it. It's been sat outside our front door, and the Wi-Fi stretches out, and so it's essentially another working room for us, but actually on the pavement.
Step one, what did you have to do to make it office ready? And step two, what was it like using it on rotation with Daisy?
We had to make it office ready by giving it a very serious deep clean. I mean, it was a bit smelly, and I think it had some colourful owners in the past. So there were some very worrying stains on various parts of the upholstery. So we literally the guy that comes around and cleans our sofa after the girls scribble on it, we persuaded him to give us a bit of his time in actually deep cleaning all the cushions and chairs in the actual motorhome. We also got a table actually built to measure to put into the camper van from a friend who's also a carpenter. And so that was super helpful. So we had something to put a laptop on. And then for the first sort of few months, we didn't have any curtains in the camper van, which meant that basically various friends, neighbours and drunks would often tap on the window when we're in the middle of a conference call, a video call. So we felt that we needed a bit of privacy. So in the interim, we had the girls draw pictures and we blue tack them in the windows. Because it was a bit like a goldfish bowl, really. Everyone was sort of staring in. And then eventually we got some curtains made by a relative and pop those in instead. So we're able to sort of pull those to and fro. But Yeah, and then it was a bit of a. I'm not saying that between Daisy and I, it was we were fighting over it. Perhaps it was the second choice versus actually having a desk in one of the rooms in the flat, and the other person actually went in the van, because it was great when it was really warm in the summer. It just got really, really hot, and then as it getting into winter, it just got really cold. So it was sort of a necessity rather than a luxury. And you were sort of the second person who got up in the morning ended up being in there.
Has this given you any an impetus or a drive to consider, maybe at some point later in life, RVing, campervanning, the traveling lifestyle? Has it been that dipping the toe in the water, or is it more like having sat out there in the winter and known how much energy it's going to take to warm the damn thing up, I'm never doing that again?
Well, I have actually done this before. Actually, I had a job once when I spent a year on the road, living on a double-decker bus in the States and through South America. So it's not the first time I've lived and worked on a moving vehicle. Though ours didn't actually move. But no, it's given me no. Actually, the people that were I'm sure we'll come on to it, we no longer own the van. And the people that were most upset were the children, because they used it as a sort of fun place to explore and play games in. But Daisy and I, we were upset to leave it, but I don't think the neighbours were particularly upset either. So I think it was a bit of an eyesore. But yeah, the kids were most upset, not us.
NIMBYism is something that we suffer from in the United Kingdom, and different countries around the world also suffer from it. At what point or how long did it take for a neighbour? Maybe we've all got great neighbours, but sometimes there's the challenge of explaining something or rationalising something with someone. Talking of personal relationships or relationships with your neighbour and neighbouring community, were there any conversations where you really had to explain why it was there so long and didn't move? And did you face any resistance to that?
No, our neighbours are all very nice people, actually, and they always thought it was quite a fun thing to talk about. And you could see people joking and laughing about it on the street, even when we weren't actually in the van from our flat window. But no, everyone was very inquisitive, and actually, but I think towards the end, I think they were starting to get a little bit tired of seeing it, I would say, because it took up a valuable parking spot right in front of our flat and in front of some of the neighbours' houses. So I don't think they were too upset to see it go.
How early on had you made the decision that, the day we can work from the office physically distance, it's going? And what was the process of disposal and deciding who would receive it?
It probably started about 4 months ago, when our local pub, which is based about 2 minutes walk away, is now a co-working space. So, and it's £5 a day, and tea and coffee and breakfast included. So that and it's nice and warm. So we basically decided that was a better offer than the cold van during the winter months. So Daisy and I have kind of transitioned into the local pub at the moment. Though I am actually in the office today. So that we started using it less and less, and as the weather got worse, we started using it less and less. And then one of our good neighbours is editor of the Camden News Journal, which is a local newspaper. And he's very well connected into local. In fact, he wanted to buy it himself, but his wife wouldn't let him. So he was the guy that actually put us in touch with gave us the idea of meeting some local charities that perhaps we could donate the van to. And in fact, that's what we did.
Who received it?
Yeah, so it's a great local charity called Refugee Community Kitchen. It's been going for about 5 years. They have a kitchen in Kentish Town, which is not far from where we live, where they collect a lot of food waste from people like Abel and Cole and a lot of supermarkets. And they have a farmers market on a Saturday there where local people can come and collect food if they need it. And also they have some pretty decent kitchens there, and actually have Michelin star chefs come in with their teams to work with the waste. I hate to call it waste because it's not waste. It's food that was going to be thrown away and created into meals for local communities and for refugees. It was actually born out of the camps in Calais. And then they've got 4 bases actually: Calais, Dunkirk, London, and Edinburgh now. And I just got in touch with them through the mutual friend of the local paper, and they were just so positive about it. And they plan to use it for lots of different reasons. So whether it's give staff a break or just as a safer place to serve food from, they're going to put a hatch in the side. But yeah, we were just delighted to donate it. It felt like a fitting end to our relationship with the van, rather than just selling it. Just felt like it reached its natural life cycle with us, and we were going to pass it on, as they say, and let it do good somewhere else.
Jim Hawker, thank you very much for joining us here on Fuse. If people wanted to find out more information about yourself and Threepipe, where could they find that information?
If anyone would like to find out more information about Threepipe Reply, you can find our website at threepipereply.com. Or if you want to connect with me, the best way to do that is on LinkedIn.